Dear students, in this video we are going to see the construction and working of transfer box. So transfer box is a part of a four-wheel drive system used in a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive vehicles. It is also called as transfer gear case, transfer gearbox, transfer box, jockey box or T-case. So the function of transfer box is to distribute the torque generated in engine to all four wheels of the vehicle. So the transfer box is connected to the engine, front axles and the rear axles through the drive shafts. The shifting mechanisms is placed in the transfer case. Uh, so the transfer gearbox is controlled by the driver. So this is the input shaft gear. And this one is the idler gear, and this is rear output shaft, and this is output gear, and this one is the front output shaft, and this is shifter mechanism. This is the setup. This is a setup of transfer box. So it shows the position of the transfer case or transfer box in the vehicle. So the front axle drive is disengaged and the transfer box is put for longer shift lever in forward position when the vehicle is running on hot surface and unleveled roads. During this stage, the shorter shift lever will control the gear ratio such as low and high. Only low gear will be engaged when the longer shift lever is for front drive. So the noise will be produced at higher speeds due to the inherent resonance behavior of spur gear train used in the transfer box. So okay, let us see the construction of the transfer box. The input shaft is connected to the gearbox and carries on it a member having axial teeth. So two input shaft gears are free to rotate on the shaft. Each of this is the two input shaft input shaft gears which are free to rotate on the shaft. Each of these gears have bosses on the sides which have axial teeth of the same pitch. So this is the thing as a central member of the input shaft. Depending upon the movement of the transfer box gear lever, the central member and thereby the input shaft may be connected either to the smaller gear or to the bigger gear. So this is the bigger gear and this one is the smaller gear. Okay, there are two output shafts, one going to front axle and the second going to the rear axle. The front output shaft is smaller in diameter and is supported inside the rear output shaft which is directly connected to the output gear. So the front output shaft has fitted on it a shifter mechanism and also has splines over a small length of it, which when engaged with the corresponding internal splines on the rear output shaft connect to the two shafts stationally with each other. Okay, this is the construction. Okay, let us see the working of the transfer box. When the shifter mechanism, this is the shifter mechanism, A is in the center, so this one is B. When the shifter mechanism A is in the center, so that the no gear is connected to the input shaft, the drive is in neutral, so like this one, so the drive will be in neutral condition. So here when the shifter mechanism A connects to the input shaft with the big input gear, but the shifter mechanism B disconnects. So here this is the shifter mechanism B which disconnects the front output of the shaft from the rear output shaft. So in this position, two-wheel drive with the higher gear is obtained. In the same way, here in this figure depicts the situation with four-wheel drive in low. So the power will be transmitted like this. Here the power will be transmitted like this. Here it will be like this position. So this is the working of transfer box, and there are different types of transfer box available: gear driven type transfer box, chain driven type transfer box, housing type transfer box, transfer case shift type. Okay, let us see the functions of the transfer box. It receives power from the transmission and sends to both front and rear axles. The on-road transfer case coordinates the difference between rotation of the front and rear wheels. It locks the front and rear axles mechanically when required. It provides low and high range of speeds. So this question will be asked in 13 marks in Anna University examinations. So there are a lot to explain in this type of question. So the possibility of asking this question in 13 marks is high. In that case, you have to draw the diagram, construction, you have to write the construction, working, functions clearly. Prepare well. Thank you.